Thank you. As you heard tonight from many of those who gave testimony, war is about betrayal, betrayal of the young by the old, betrayal of soldiers and Marines by politicians, and the betrayal of idealists by cynics. The cost of this betrayal, I think, was evident in the testimonies that you heard. It is a betrayal that brings with it deep physical and psychological pain that never goes away. It is, for those who become conscious, an existential crisis. For those who return and understand war, grasp the lies that they have been told in their schools, in their churches or synagogues or mosques, by their government, by the entertainment industry, by the press. They understand that we are not a good and virtuous people. God has not blessed us above others. We are not assured of victory. We are as capable of perpetuating evil as those who oppose us. And this existential crisis is one that turns those who have the courage to stand up and speak, those you heard today, into outcasts, pariahs, prophets. Prophets who come to tell us who we are. And it's a painful message. It's a painful message to grasp that the evil that lurks within us is so easily unleashed upon the other. We are, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, in this church on April 4th, 1974, the greatest purveyor of violence on the planet. We speak almost exclusively to the rest of the world in the language of violence. In 1965, when Robert McNamara began the horrendous bombing of North Vietnam, which resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese, he said that he was trying to deliver a message to Hanoi. And that language of violence is one that we taught the world to speak back to us. It is the language the hijackers on 9/11 spoke. Where else did they learn that huge explosions and death above a city skyline are a form of communication? The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, preemptive war, under post-Nuremberg laws, are illegal. They are defined as criminal wars of aggression, and we have no right as a nation to debate the terms of the occupation. It is neither morally nor legally permitted for us to be in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the great tragedy of the Obama administration is that they have codified the destruction of domestic and international law unleashed by the Bush administration. They have made it bipartisan. And for those of us who care about the rule of law, who care about the capacity for conscience, who care about creating a world where we can speak to others in the language of humility rather than the language of violence. It is incumbent upon us not simply to express our commitment to peace, but to stand up militantly against those political and economic forces that perpetuate war. And this means standing up to both of our parties, to all of the mainstream, to all of the institutions that are carrying out this sacrilege. We can neither afford economically or morally the imperium that we have spread throughout the Middle East. I spent 7 years in the Middle East, much of that time in Gaza, Iraq. And what those who are under the boot of occupation ask is very simple, and that is the right for their own self-determination, for their liberty, for their freedom. The longer that we expand our imperium, the more countries we occupy, the more bases we establish, the more we perpetuate a world where those around us speak exclusively in the language that we speak, and that is the language of war and violence. I finally want to end tonight by reminding you that the pain that was evident here behind this podium, the pain of a mother who lost her child, the pain of veterans who must carry with them the weight of killing, is a pain that we have visited on Iraqis, Afghanis, Palestinians, the dwarfs, any of our own pain, that there are hundreds of thousands of families who we have plunged into the long, perpetual night of grief and pain. And I ask tonight that when we leave, we begin to see that the pain that we endure is the pain that they endure, and that our true brothers and sisters are those who carry this burden and with whom we must reach out at all costs, whatever the militancy, whatever the systems of defiance that we grasp will be, to make solidarity with and to rebuild a broken world. Thank you.